Okay, so we are going to start with our recursion now. So what is recursion? That is the basic and the foremost question that is being asked. तो इससे पहले हम start करें तो you should know what recursion basically is. So in most simple language, it is when a function calls itself directly or indirectly. So when a function is calling itself, whether directly, whether indirectly, we call it as our recursion. Now there are two types of things that are there in recursion. One is the base case and another is our recursion case. So what is it? Let's see. So when I'm talking about the base case, it is a statement that is used to stop the recursion immediately. So when a function is calling itself and calling itself and calling itself, if we do not use this base case, the function won't stop. It will have a loop infinite. It will have an infinite loop. So it is nothing. It is the condition that stops our recursion immediately. Recursion, yep. And then our recursive case, yep, it is opposite of it, it is opposite, and it is a part of code that calls the function again and again with smaller versions of the problem. It calls the function again and again with smaller version of problems. Yep. So when we are writing a recursive function, firstly is the statement where we have the base case and we have our recursive case. Here we define what our function is that is going to act as a recursion function, and then we have the main code in which we apply this function, recursive function. Okay, so let's just see a practical real life example of this. So we can start it with a question. The question will be, I'll just clear it out firstly. Yeah. Okay. The question will be to find the factorial. Not here. Question will be to find the factorial using recursion method. Okay, now we'll start with our most basics. Hash include studio.h. Then we say, now we are not going to start with a int main here. Now we are going to start with a function, that is recursion function. So here we will have our base case and here we will have our recursive case. So we're starting with int factorial. Here the name of the function is factorial because we are going to perform the factorial. So int factorial specifies that the input value that we place here is int, and then we're going to go with int n. The int n specifies here that the output value provided will be in integer. The int factorial input in integer, int n output in integer. So now we are starting with our base case. So how is it going to be like? So you make if n is equals to 1 or these two line stand for or n is equals to 0, return 1. So the return one, what the return one do is here that it stops performing the function furthermore. So this is acting as my base case. The function will stop performing here. Okay. Now we'll go with else return n into factorial n minus 1. Okay. Oh, I forgot to add a terminator there. Yeah. So here it is returning me the value, but in a smaller version of the problem. So when the code will run in accordance with the previously given code, okay, so we will have the value like supposedly 7, then the 7 came here, then again when it will learn, then it will be 6, then again it will be 5. So this is how it shortened the version of the problem and is solving it in a loop, and upper part is our base case, lower part is our recursive case. Now we are going to have the code in which we are going to apply this function. Now we're going to start with our int main. Yeah, so int main, the brackets, and we're going to go with it like int num. This is a number that we are going to take input from the user. So we'll go printf number please, and the terminator, then scanf, we're going to take it from the user, and then like %d comma and num, so the value goes there. Now again our if else statement. So if num is less than 0, printf negative values not possible, right? Negative values are not possible. And then we'll go with a else statement. Else printf the factorial of %d is %d new line comma the factorial of num is. Now this is the place where I am applying this factorial. This is the place where I am applying the function within this code. Okay, so I'm applying the code factorial, and in the end I'm gonna do with my return 0. Yeah, so my return 0. This return 0 says that our code has no problem, it is a successful code, it is a successful execution, it is true, but the return that is here and here, these are not the true and false. This return that is within the code itself tells us that your function to stop running now, and this one will return us the value. Now let us run this one. Okay, number please, let me say 7. Okay, I got my factorial. Let me say -5. Negative value is not possible. Let me say 0, 1. So yeah, this is it. This was all about recursion. It's a very easy topic, and that's it. Thank you so much.